Welcome to Overcome Yourself, the podcast, where we rewrite stories, shift mindsets, and make dreams come true. I'm your host, Nicole. Let's get into today's episode. Hello there, and welcome back to the next episode of Overcome Yourself, the podcast. As you know, my name is Nicole, and I'm very excited to be here today with Ken. So, Ken, go ahead and please introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about who you are and who you help, and who's that guy in the background you've got there.
Nicole, thank you so much for having me. This guy here, it's a hockey mask of Kevin Smith. If you know him, he's a writer, director.
Yes.
Huge fan. So, but my name is Ken Cox. I'm the president and founder of nlink.com. We are web hosting, CRM, email, collaboration, kind of an entire suite for the small and medium-sized business. Well, all size business, really. We've been in the industry for over 25 years. And in January of 25, we rebranded the nlink.com name to be for AI employees for the small and medium-sized business. The technology and the price and everything have come down so to a spot that we can really give, the small business owner, the solopreneur, one heck of a package for, under $100. But, and then, even for the big guys, we have packages for them too. So across the board, it's been a ton of fun. And then helping small business owners understand that they can implement AI in place to help them fill gaps in their business, not necessarily replacing staff members, but they can fill gaps in their business. We know that phones don't get answered properly in small businesses. We know that follow-up doesn't happen the way that it should. And, we know that we got to follow the leads, but we also have to, hit that Google review and that Facebook review and answer that phone and send that text message. And AI can do so many of those tasks for us today to fill those gaps so that we can focus on what's really important for our business.
I love that. That's amazing. And especially for small business owners, right? And the solopreneurs out there. I was talking with someone the other day, is like, yeah, and then you go work for yourself. And so now you're the boss. I'm like, yeah, but you're the boss, but you're also the worker and the IT guy and the accountant and customer service. And you do all the things. You wear so many hats. So where would we start with something like that? So like if I wanted to implement, like where would you recommend that I look at, implementing AI in my systems?
Right now, I would say answering the phone would be the first thing. We know 60% of phone calls don't go unanswered for small businesses. We know that when you do answer the phone, there's the anxiety of, is this a solicitor? How do I get them off the phone? All of those things. So every call needs to be answered. You don't know what kind of deal that is. And we need to be able to get our potential clients or clients the data that they need as quickly as real time as possible. So now with the AI receptionist, the phone answering system, the voice AI, we could set up so quickly and easily, train it on your documents for, send them order forms, collect data and get somebody to call them back, fill out contracts and send those, right? There's a ton of things that we can do to have AI answer the phone, be nice and courteous, be very transparent right out of the gate. And what we found is that users mostly love it. The end user, there's a little bit of a shock to some people right out of the gate, and they don't like the AI. They don't like talking with the AI. But when they realize that, oh, I'm going to get accurate information really, really quickly, and I'm going to get the same kind of support every single time I call that business, it's pretty huge. And the end user kind of forgets that they're dealing with AI pretty quickly.
That's pretty cool. So like you said, gather your documents, right? Something that I always talk to my clients about is establishing your SOPs. Everything you do, establish your SOPs. How does it work? How do you do it every single time? What kind of stuff would you recommend that they gather?
So the AI does a great job of gathering the information from the end user. So name, email, phone number are the obvious. If you can, something that we play with sometimes is, collecting birth dates so that we can send them automated messages on their birthday. Sometimes I've got a couple out there that are saying, hey, kind of different kind of industries, like maybe an escape rooms, like, hey, would you like to hear a funny joke before we go? And then you can kind of determine, is this a person that likes those kinds of deals or not, right? And then you give the user options, and then all those things can then just be stored in the database, and then you know more about your potential client or your client at that point. So I think that as we communicate with our clients, it's a wonderful thing. If you've ever owned a business where customers come in and you're working the front desk on a regular basis, it's a beautiful thing to get to know them and be able to meet them where they're at whenever they're there. And you can't always do that, but with AI employees, you can start doing that more frequently, and you can make special days for them more meaningful within your business. And when you start doing those kind of strategies in your business, you start building a really, really neat community. And I think that that's really where business is headed for the next 10 years as AI and robotics come to, and then, you know, all the dangerous jobs will be gone, all the tedious jobs will be gone, and we'll be entertaining each other and educating each other on different aspects of the world. And that's what business will be. So I would like to start prepping for that now.
That's pretty cool. And I studied that in AP Human Geography, like the different stages of like how civilizations go through economies. And we got to service, and they were like, "That's it. There's nothing after service." But now in the age of AI, it has become, like you said, where it is even more service. Actually, that is where we are right now, right? Because it goes from agricultural to factory work to service, and we're in the service-based industry and everything, and exactly what you're saying of like being able to equip us to do those dangerous jobs more safely. And like AI has been around for a while. Like I know I was using AI before Chat GPT came out. That was something I was using for copywriting because it was already there. What Chat GPT changed was mass accessibility. It was easier to access. Now we had an interface where the general public, right? And so like that's where the wave came up, and now it's becoming more mainstream, and we're seeing AI is everywhere. And so it's not about, no, I don't want to use that. It's about understanding that this is what TV was to the radio. And so if we are not looking at that box and saying, oh my God, this is the future, how can I use this? We're going to get left in the dust. So what are your thoughts on that?
I 100% agree. If you're not embracing AI today, well, AI is different than any other technology, right? I think it's probably for humanity. I think it's the most profound thing since the fire, right? Like it is going to change humanity in a way that we don't even understand yet.
Mhm.
I I'm optimistic and I'm hopeful that because we have leaders that have open sourced the technology, that it can't be um, contained and used solely for evil purposes, right? So good people can do it, and there's no stopping it now. As long as there's a computer and a person to fight for good, then good can be fought for, right? And that's a really
Love
beautiful
that.
thing. I think that if the transformer piece of GPT was not open source, we would have really, really bigger issues on our planet to be thinking about, because it would be literally isolated to the elites. And that's not the case, right? It is open sourced. I have my own servers with my own open llama on it. Thank you, Zuckerberg, right? Thank you, Elon, for forcing this to be open sourced. And for anybody that doesn't know what open source means, it just means that anybody can go to get and download it and put it on a computer. And if you're good with computers, it's not that challenging, right? If you're a Linux administrator, you can get this done. It's not overwhelming. So
It makes me, just to kind of give like a visual, like in those thrillers where they have the USB that has this technology that would change everything. That's the opposite of this, right? That would be like a closed source, and we have open source. Okay, so
yeah, anybody can do it. So there's no gatekeepers. And I think that's what's so beautiful about AI today, and how it's being deployed. Because if it were the other way, if somebody would have kept this to themselves, they could really do a lot of harm with very little way to defend ourselves from it, right? I mean,
Yeah,
the
of course. Yeah, look what we're doing with it.
they know everything ever written about psychology and
Hmm.
sociology and internet marketing and marketing. So to use them for long tail manipulation, which is something humanity has never seen. Um, right. I mean, we've had propaganda acts, right, that would
Hmm.
last a decade or so, but I mean, you can literally write long tail disinformation campaigns like flat earth theory and get the whole world to start changing their perspective of how they think the earth is flat. Like the percentage of flat earthers is raising in 2025 and has been for the last 5 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's dangerous. So having it on both sides of the fence, I think, is wildly important, and that will be the key. Now, hopefully, humanity doesn't get too lazy and just sit back and relax and let the robots and AI do everything. But we'll see what happens.
Yes, and actually, I'm sure you've seen the quote about AI like being able to like wash the dishes and clean the house so that I can focus on art. But it speaks to like how complicated the simple things that we consider simple are, like cooking something or washing a dish and determining, well, how much soap do I use? Do I throw this in the dishwasher? Like there's so many little steps that robots, they haven't been able to figure out how to do that. And so I think, there's value in that, right? And we do have robots. Like I throw my clothes in the washing machine and then I turn on the dishwasher. I'm like, look at the robots working for me. Like, our ancestors had to be there, like washing every article, and I get to just throw it in there and push a button, and now it's done. And so, like, there's robots already working for us. This is just like a different level. So super interesting.
Yeah, I think
Um,
the autonomous robots with and the coupling of all of these technologies, lidar and motion detection, and all of these different technologies that have all come together. Um, I'm a huge proponent right now of I think our world is going to look drastically different in 5 years. And it's happening right now, right in front of everybody's eyes. Even the Quick Trip now has robot floor moppers right down the street, like just running. That's a a $20 an hour employee that's gone, and they're paying
mhm.
$20 a day to have that guy just run nonstop. So it's going to change everything that we do, which is good. In America, we have more jobs than we have people to do them. Um, this is something that we need to embrace and move forward with instead of fear and run away from. If you run away from AI and robotics, I don't know what you're going to do. What
And
Netflix?
to your point,
Netflix. That's it.
it's where we pivot, right? Where we learn to pivot, and we have to say, well, what else is there? Like, how can we be creative? How can we, stay stay relevant, stay with it, like stay with the things.
Yeah, I mean,
So
relevance now though, it's so cool because what makes you relevant is that you're you and uniquely you.
mhm,
Because all intelligence has been democratized. We're all the same amount of smart now, right? We can all go. It's not even like I can Google better than the other person. It's literally I can ask any question. I can give it context about my life, my marriage, my work, my campaign, anything, and you'll have a collaborator at minimum, a really really
yes.
smart collaborator in your pocket at all times, right? Your teacher was wrong. Not only do we have calculators, we have Einsteins in our pocket at all times.
Yes. And you know what? Even through high school, in my math classes, my teachers did not let us use calculators. So I could still do math in my head. But yeah, they were like, no, you're not gonna have calculators. But it's really cool. It's important that we have that knowledge behind what we're doing too, right? Because like you said, there could be like dangerous things like happen. That I read an article about a book about mushrooms that a family took out, and they ended up eating a poisonous mushroom and ended up in the ER because this person wasn't an expert, so they couldn't see that in. And so I think it's really important that that we keep the humanity in it. And to bring back to what we were talking about, the phones, something I think my audience is going to want to know. Okay, so this AI is doing the phone calls and they're building these relationships. Where am I in this? Like, how do I know who the customers are? How do I interact with them? Like, how can I be like, hey, thanks for stopping by? So how do we bring back the humanity into it if we do decide to implement some AI?
I think that for specifically for service-based storefronts or the solopreneur, you're going to do that by being present with the client that's in front of you right now, right? And you're going to be fully present with them right now instead of if I'm a chiropractor or a dentist or any of those things and having that phone ring in the background and think like, oh, is that an important call? Am I going to get it? Or who's going to get it? Or I just hired this front desk person and they're going to answer the phone and they're going to screw it all up. I know it and have that anxiety. I'm going to get to be fully present with the client that I'm dealing with right now and have full confidence that my phone's being answered, my standard operating procedures are being followed, they're getting the data that they need as fast as possible in whatever format they need. If you want to have it set up to all these different modalities, if you want to have them, it can ask them, how would you like me to send you this? Would you like me to send it in a Facebook chat, a text message, through WhatsApp, through an email, through, would you like the contract? So, as we train these things more and more, they become more user friendly for your client, and you can adopt more ways to communicate with your clients without having the today, whenever we're getting ready to add a new, oh, we're going to start supporting WhatsApp with our clients. Now I got to make my standard operating procedures, and I had to train every single employee that ever is going to do the front desk for me again forever on how to use WhatsApp. Well, with AI employees, I train it one time, I keep an eye on it, I watch it, and I have guardrails, and I correct it when it goes wrong, but I don't have to train that person on all these different technologies every single time I hire a new person. That anxiety of the new person answering the phone and standing over them starts to disintegrate. The anxiety of, oh, school's starting next month and I'm going to lose half my front desk staff and I got to hire a new staff. All those things go away. And it's great.
That is awesome. I love how it's, focusing on the systems, on the repetitive, boring, the things that you don't want to be doing anyway. Like you mentioned, like you're a chiropractor, you're with a client, you're like, oh, that phone call might be important, and then it's like an automated call about something that's not even for you, and you're like, ah.
Yeah. That goes to, you don't have to ever think about a phone solicitor calling you again and dealing with it because the AI is going to vet that out really fast. But it's going to answer it. It's going to know, was that a legitimate call or not? What we found is that if you're wildly transparent, hi, thank you for calling. My name is Samantha AI. I am the AI agent for this company. If you ever want to talk to a real person, let me know and I'll get somebody from our staff to call you back within the next day. Right. And that little bit of transparency right out of the gate seems to dissolve any hesitation from the end users.
Yeah, and you know what? When you get to one of those phone menus and they're like, for something unrelated to what you're calling for, press one. For something else that is totally unapplicable to you, press two.
Right.
For something else that you don't care about. And you're like, oh my God. And then you get to the next menu, and guess what? We're starting all over.
And
Yeah,
something that's
so that's pretty
wildly
cool.
cool, and found this on accident early in the game, but now starting to implement it, is we don't have to say English one, Spanish press two. You can choose, and most of my clients choose to keep it English only, but you can choose to let it speak in any language that your end user speaks. Now, we typically say in America, if they go to Spanish, bring them back to English if you can, and advise them that we don't, have humans that speak Spanish, but you can start supporting your customers, fundamental support in their native language naturally. Just because they start speaking a different language, the AI will pick up on that and answer them in their language. It's
Yeah, I've done that in chats, because I'm in Miami, so like I speak, Miami English, so it's like half
yeah,
and half. And I'll throw in Spanish words and it just answers me. It just answers and it knows what I'm talking about. So
yeah. I've been
approved.
using technology my entire life to help me communicate with this planet, and AI, the AI and the transformer has really done a phenomenal job of humanizing itself
Yes.
in
Um,
a way that meets the human where they're at, which
right.
is really different than anything we've had before, right? Even the AIs of 5 or 10 years ago were just really nice big queries that could
Mhm.
that couldn't hold conflicting ideas and give you input on conflicting ideas. It was very binary, and today it's a different world.
Well, it's kind of like when you hear of James Cameron with Avatar, and when he wrote it, the technology wasn't even available for him to do the thing, so he had to wait like 10 years, and then he's like, okay, now I can make it because now we have. And so it's kind of like that. The technology wasn't even available, right? It's all like the steps, right? Because then Google got all this information, and then now we can do this, and now we have aggregated information. Now we have the ability to have this large language model, and like you said, people related to it because it became one of the biggest downloads, like so fast. Like it was the most downloaded app ever, like in the fastest amount of time. And so that speaks to the relatability, how people were able to easily communicate, just like the rise. I remember when I was growing up, there was no computers inside people's houses. Like I remember, my grandfather bringing in the computer, and they had to buy a desk. I say he didn't buy it. I say he was sold that thing. And it had even an encyclopedia, and we had like 8 discs. So depending on which letter, you were studying, he's like, this is for you guys to study. Um, and then just like that, like it was adopted, and the AI was adopted, even faster. So yeah.
It's been a remarkable run, and I'm super fortunate to be, I'm 50, so I've got to see 25 years of each century, and it's been a heck of a ride. It's been a lot of fun,
Yes.
and
Um,
this particular era, um, we're all super fortunate humans to be alive today.
yeah, and you know what? The technology is only going to advance faster. Like it's exponential at this point. And I can get into quantum physics about how the universe is always expanding. But anyway, you mentioned, more interesting to the audience, I think, that you had a special gift for the listeners. Because can you tell us a little bit about that? Because this is a lot that we've talked about.
Yeah, so I understand that AI can be scary for people, and it can be scary for businesses, and implementing it is very frightening. And quite frankly, I stayed away from it for a long time because the cost and the complexities and things like that weren't ready for the end user. But in January of 25, the voice AI programs got so good, that it was time to bring it to market. It's so affordable, right? For under $100 a month, you can get started. So you don't have to like commit to this new system. You can literally
Mhm.
onboard it and slowly roll it into your business. But on Tuesdays, if you go to nlink.com, on Tuesdays, we have a free webinar. It's no pressure. We're not trying to sell anything. You'll get huge discounts on our unlimited AI employee package if you join. But we just go through and we set up a fake company and a fake phone number. We have it. We call and answer the phone, and we go through some different scenarios to kind of show you how fast it is and easy it is to set up. And I believe that AI employees are something that needs to be managed within the business. This is not something you should let your marketing firm do. Something you need to manage. You need to be able to go in and put different guardrails on quickly. This is your business. You need to own that piece. And nlink is here to help you do that, right? We're not saying, hey, pay us X number of dollars per month and we'll handle it for you. But we're going to show you how to make sure that it's managed, because you're going to be checking those emails and you're going to see, it's still an intelligent thing. So it can make different decisions sometimes, and you're going to have to watch it and put guardrails on it, because a question can get asked that it doesn't know, and it might think through it and say, oh, this might be the right answer, and that might not be the answer you want it to have. So, and everybody's got great standard operating procedures, but I know that everybody's got some gaps as well.
No, no, no,
So, and we
no.
got to find them and fill them. So, nlink.com, sign up for our Tuesday webinar. It's absolutely free, no pressure at all. And we're going to show you how simple it is to set up AI employees for your business, to answer phones, do Google reviews, Facebook reviews. If you want to get more complex and help you with your content copywriting and stuff like that, that's great too. But that's it.
That is amazing. And as someone, like, I managed a brand for a celebrity, we had a lot of emails, and the questions that people come up with that you never in a million years would have considered. Yeah, so you so even if you sit down and you think through every possibility, I promise that someone's going to ask a question that you're going to be like, never would have imagined that this would come up. I hadn't even thought of that. So yeah, that is a big deal, setting up those guardrails, because they will catch you by surprise with some of those questions.
Absolutely.
Um,
And then you get to run your business your way, and you're not dependent on
yeah.
somebody else. And it's super easy to do now.
Yeah. And once it comes up, you fix it once and that's it. It's fixed. And then anytime that comes up again, it's handled. So I love that so much. How do we follow you on social media?
If you want to learn more about me personally, just kencox.com, and that's got all my social media handles. You'll find my Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all
Cool.
that stuff. And that's where I publish my expanding universe theories as well.
Love it. Final tip. Signing off here, what's like that big tip? What's going to give the audience their biggest aha moment?
Wow, I was not prepared for that question. I think what you were talking about with the standard operating procedures, and you don't know the things that are coming up, right? And you can sit down and don't try to have every chapter of your book written before you get started. Just get started and know that you're going to stub your toe, you're going to mess up, and just, it's okay. As long as you're willing to understand that and keep an eye on it and then modify as you go. You're not going to knock it out of the park on the first try. And that's okay. You might. Some people have. I know a couple, not a lot. Most of us fall quite frequently and get back up and brush up our knees and keep going. So, you don't have to know all the answers before you get started. Just get started, pick a topic to tackle and move forward. But if you can start and not have to think about answering the phone on every time it rings, and know that your customers are getting their stuff done, then your path will be a lot clearer.
I love that. That's been amazing. Thank you so much, Ken. This really was amazing. And you guys can read more about all his stuff. Make sure you sign up for his class. Is that what we call it?
Yeah.
Meeting? I don't know. What would you call it? Workshop?
I just called it an AI workshop. Yeah.
AI workshop. Okay, so sign up for his workshop. All the links that he mentioned are going to be available down in the show notes. And we will catch you guys next time on the next episode of Overcome Yourself, the podcast. Bye. Thanks again for tuning in to Overcome Yourself, the podcast. Stay bold, stay grateful, and keep becoming your best you. For more information and resources from me, Nicole, head over to nicoletexberry.com/resources. See you next time.